Hey guys, welcome back. In this video, I'm going to show you step by step how to prepare a deed of trust. Have you ever been wondering, how do I fill out a deed of trust? Well, in this video, I'm going to show you step by step how to do it, word by word, and I'm even going to share my screen when I do it. I got this deed of trust from my Colorado real estate attorney. It's that easy to get one of these. Just contact the local real estate attorney. Sometimes a title insurance company will share these, or you can go online and download one right off the internet, but you want to just make sure it's your state approved deed of trust. So here's an example of a deed of trust. I have filled out this multiple times, and a deed of trust is basically to protect my lender. So this form is used in a consumer credit transaction. Consult legal counsel, and this legal instrument is not understood. Legal tax or other counsel should be consulted before signing. Due on transit strict. So basically, this deed of trust is made let's just say the 3rd day of August 2022 between Brent Bowers as the borrower, whose address is 123 Main Street, and I'm not going to fill all that out for time purposes, and for the benefit of, let's just say John Smith is my lender, the lender, whose address is 345 Main Street. He's my neighbor. And borrower and lender covenant and agree to the following, or as follows. Property and trust, the borrower in consideration of the indebtedness and the trust herein created hereby grants and conveys to trustee in trust with power of sale the following legally described property in the city of Pagosa, county of Archuleta, state of Colorado, and that's where the legal description would go, right here. And then also known as 155 Main Street, and then Pagosa Springs, Colorado, and then the zip code. You want to make sure that's all filled in correctly. And then the other obligations secured. Basically, this deed of trust is given to secure to lender the payment of indebtedness evidenced by borrower, a note dated August 3rd. You want that the same date as up here. The principal sum of $55,124. So basically, I'm borrowing $55,124, and then you actually write it out here, $55,124, with interest on the unpaid principal balance from August 3rd, 2022 until paid at a rate of 10%. Now you can fill this in whatever you want. Maybe you pay 1%, maybe you pay 14%, with the principal and interest payable at the end of the 9-month loan period with all interest and principal due. So what does that mean? I am not paying a single payment until 9 months later. Some people like to do 12 months minimum because that's a really easy number to figure out. 10% on $55,124. I'll just pull out my calculator just to kind of show you exactly what it is, but 10% per annum. So that's 1 year. So $55,124 times 10%, that is $5,512.40, what your lender would make in interest. And a lot of people like to do 12 months minimum and no payments, because then at the end of that year, they get a $5,500 check plus that whole amount of $55,124. All right, but this case, this purposes, it is only for 9 months for this particular example, but they get their principal back of $55,124 plus their $5,512.40. You understand the power of a private lender? That right there. And it's secured by real estate. And if you pay them once a year, then they're not spending the payments of whatever the payments would be on $55,124 times 10%. So it's $5,500 a year. So if you would divide 5,500 divided by 12, they would get payments of about $458 a month. So if they wanted payments, you would put that right here. The other places lender may designate in blank amount of payments. So that's where you put the, how many payments? The dollar amount, $458.33, due on the first day of each month, beginning, so August 3rd. So the first one would be probably due September 1st. And borrower is to pay a late charge of, a lot of times this is up to 10% of the actual payment. So if the payment's $458, 10% of that would be about $45. But I just put 1% just to put something in there. I probably should have put NA since I wasn't making payments here as well, this makes it way easier on my cash flow too. After payment is due, borrower has the right to repay the principal amount outstanding under said note in the whole or in part or without penalty except. Basically, it's just saying I can pay it off early. Repayment of all sums with interest therein at 10% per annum. Annum is 1 year, per year basically. Title, borrower covenants, the borrower owns the property. Payment, principal, and interest. Basically, borrower shall promptly pay when due. Application of payments. All payments received by lender under the terms applied by lender in the first payment of amounts due per cent and then to amounts disbursed. Boy, I couldn't read that. By lender. And some of this jargon is a little bit long, so I'm not going to read every single detail. Property insurance is saying borrower shall keep the improvements now existing basically under insurance. Preservation and maintenance of the property. That's really important. You do not want to degrade the property. You want to maintain it and preserve it. Protection of lender security. Definitely you want to protect the lender security because at the end of the day, the lender doesn't want to get stuck with a bad act or a bad asset. Inspection, the lender can come in and inspect it anytime they like. Condemnation, the proceeds of any award or claim damages direct consequential in connection with any condemnation or taking of the property or part thereof. Borrowers not released basically until this is paid for, and so on and so on. I'm gonna just kind of scroll through this as the video is not super long. Escrow funds for taxes and insurance. This is an important one. You want to make sure that you have the funds available to pay the taxes. A lot of times that's twice a year. Sometimes you can pay it once a year. Some lenders require you to pay 6 months in advance. If you're dealing with, someone, just your neighbor or whatever, you want to make sure you talk about that in advance to make sure that they're happy with the way the taxes and the insurance are paid for. Hey guys, hopefully this is helping. I pray that you smash that like button if this is providing value for you. If it's not, hit the dislike button and maybe I'll improve. Next, this is executed by borrower. I put my first and last name. If you're a corporation, you would put it right here. If you're a partnership, you would put the information right there. Limited liability company goes here. And then you actually sign this in front of a notary. State of Colorado, City of Pagosa. The notary stamps it. You have to show your driver's license. And then basically what you want to do is you want to get a copy of this deed of trust and you want to make sure your lender gets the actual original document after you record this. You want to record this with the county recorder because if you don't record it, no one's going to know that there's actually a lien on the property. So that's huge for a lender. You want to protect their interest because who's to say that the buyer doesn't go out and get another loan against this property, and if he gets 3 or 4 of these deed of trust and no one records it, then the buyer can get, several $50,000 loans on a $100,000 property. And that would really hurt the lender. So you want to go to the county recorder and make sure that this is recorded. And when it's paid off, you want to record a release of mortgage. That's very important. That's what gets a lot of people in trouble when they go to sell a property. But this is how you fill out a deed of trust. This is a deed of trust. You can get this pretty much for any state. Definitely contact a local real estate attorney. They'll probably even help you fill it out, but a lot of them will send it to you as well. Hey guys, if you are just now looking to do your first real estate deal, I want to share an amazing podcast with you that I actually just so happen to be one of the hosts of, and that is Wholesaling Inc. podcast. I want you to go to that podcast and listen to the success stories of our students doing deals. We hold their feet to the fire and we ask them step by step how they did that deal, how they got that small win to ultimately create the big win. So go to the Wholesaling Inc. podcast today.